What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well. And before we get started, I do want to remind you that today, as in Wednesday, we do have FOMC and CPI. So it is going to be a very volatile day, a lot of manipulation, and probably not a day to be trading, but nonetheless, we'll jump straight into things. So we did just about take out this weekly high. Dollar traded higher, pound traded higher with dollar, which isn't nice to see at all. And then you'll notice that euro traded on lower. Now, when you have divergence like that, it's just very weird, and you can see that they're clearly preparing for something, especially on a daily level. Like we're seeing pound close higher with dollar and euro close significantly lower. So we're going to see a lot of volatility based off that. But right now, the fact that we have relative equal highs above here now, these are going to be seen as buy stops. So we'll put weekly buy side liquidity up here, and I will have my attention on that, and I will talk more on that as we drop down to the lower time frames. But you'll see that we just about took out that weekly high, again showing quite a nice level of bullishness. I am still anticipating a reversal. I'm not going to call tops, but I am still expecting some kind of reversal, maybe on the back of CPI or the back of FOMC, to send price lower and run out that Tuesday low and start thinking about discount PD arrays to potentially trade into. Now, I do like the look of this bullish order block. I spoke about this yesterday. So in terms of discount PD arrays, I would like to think that price can trade down into this, but I'm not going to talk too much on that right now. Right now, I'm just focusing on how I want to see tomorrow deliver. So let's just get this marked out though. We've got a weekly bullish order block like so. Move that to the right, and then we'll keep this red like so. So now let's go down to the daily, and you'll see how today, as in Tuesday, we just about took out that high, but now we've left relative equal highs up here. So there's definitely going to be weekly buy side liquidity up here. There's going to be stops above here, and I wouldn't be surprised if in Wednesday we saw price continue to trade on higher before we see an actual reversal. So if we are to take out these highs, I'll be then looking at this range right here to get traded into, and when we drop down to lower time frames, you'll see how there is PD arrays within this range that price may want to be reaching for, because the fact that we traded on through that Monday high, the fact that we took out this high, and we're seeing continuous rallying, it means we're obviously reaching for some kind of imbalance. Now remember, wicks are gaps too, so this is technically an imbalance, meaning that we need to now look inside this range to find what imbalance price may be trying to reach for before we see a potential turn in the market. You'll also see how we gapped higher. That's another bullish signal for price. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw in the early hours of Wednesday, see us trade higher, run out these stops, and then see a potential turn in the market or retracement or whatnot. So let's now go down to the 4 hour, and you'll see how price ran out that Monday high. If you watched yesterday's video, you'll know I didn't ideally want to see that happen. I wanted to see, could it provide resistance? It didn't, and the fact that it didn't is now telling me that we're likely going to run out that Tuesday high as well. So this is why it's important to have these PD arrays on your charts so that you can see what happens, because now I know, okay, well, we didn't respect what I wanted to see, meaning that we're likely still bullish, meaning that I can now start looking for more premium PD arrays that price will likely want to try and seek. Another thing to take note of is that we never took out this, we just about took out this low, but then had a strong bullish reaction. So we're seeing another level of displacement to the upside. So here's the 4 hour, and this is what I was talking about. We're looking in this range, remember, from the weekly, from the daily, and you can see we have a nice bearish order block right here, and we have this massive fair value gap, which would be nice to see get filled. So I am looking at this bearish order block. We can draw out the low of that, but I do believe on the 1 hour there is a more specific PD array. So it'd be nice to see if price can trade up into that, and then if we hit that, say at 8:30 or right around CPI or FOMC, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw price reject away from that level and start to trade aggressively lower, and that's when we can start thinking about Tuesday and Monday lows, and a potential reach for more sell stops. So let's go to the 1 hour, and the 1 hour is also where this gap is. If you watch yesterday's video, you'll know I was speaking about this. Price should seek to fill this. Now obviously we never done it on Tuesday, completely fine. What does that mean for price? Well, it means that we'll likely try and target it later on in the week after reaching our premium PD array. So if this is our premium PD array, after that, I would then be looking at this as the target. I'd want to see us straight into it. And then once we get below it, I'd like to see it act as resistance to then send price lower. Now, we don't really need to think that far ahead. Right now, we just need to think, we just need to see how price responds to these levels up here. Because if we trade through it and we start disrespecting, that bearish order block on the 4 hour I was talking about, then it's likely price will aggressively trade on higher and start reaching for even higher highs, which would be quite concerning in my opinion, but I wouldn't put it past price at this point. So what you'll find is that bearish order block on the 4 hour also happens to line up with a beautiful fair value gap on the 1 hour and a breaker. So we have a high, a low, a high, and then displacement. So we have PD arrays on top of PD arrays on top of PD arrays. So these are even more reasons as to why I'd like to see price trade up into this range. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't have to do it, but if it does, it's a very high I say high probability, but it's probable that price will want to turn away from it, as in I'd be looking for price to find resistance at it. So I will keep our attention on this, and at least we know now this is a fair value gap. I'm going to get rid of the middle of it, and I'll make the range black. Now we know this is an hourly fair value gap combined with a 4 hour bearish order block and a breaker. So once price is in that range, I'll be looking to see, okay, do we want to see does price want to displace to the downside? If so, I'd then look at targeting this Tuesday low that was created at 2 a.m. So let's get that Tuesday low marked out for sell stops. And ideally for price, I don't want to see this sell side liquidity get taken out until we've traded up into this premium. It's as simple as that. If we do take out this sell side, then so be it. That's completely fine. But I do believe, or would like to think, that price can run out this Tuesday high one more time and then trade on lower, but we'll see. So yeah, that's pretty much everything on dollar. I hope that all makes sense. Remember, we've got FOMC and CPI, a double whammy tomorrow. So, low risk, do be careful. And yeah, let's move on to GBP USD. So we'll start on the weekly, and what you'll find with GBP today is that GBP traded higher with dollar, which isn't nice and makes things extremely difficult. Now, if we want to see if we want to see lower dollar overall, which is what I did want to see, that means we want to see higher pound. So in terms of premium PD arrays for pound to trade to, in terms of where would it trade to if we are to create an up close week, I'll be looking at this massive weekly candle with the midpoint. I'll be looking at this midpoint to get traded to the consequent encroachment. And then in terms of discount PD arrays, the very lowest I want to see it trade at this point, especially after having taken out last week's low, is going to be this daily low that was created yesterday. Sorry, not the daily low, this daily consequent encroachment. So let's get that marked out, and I'll explain to you why I'm paying attention to these levels now. So as dollar creates the high tomorrow, so if dollar is to create a high in this range, then I'll be looking for GBP to trade lower and respect this midpoint. Ideally, we don't take out yesterday's low. It would help show a level of bullishness. It can do it, guys. I'm not saying it can't do it, but ideally, I'd like to think that it can it can respect this and then trade on higher. It was nice. Don't get me wrong. It was nice to see that price traded into this fair value gap. If you watched yesterday's video, I spoke about that. So it's nice to see we did reach that midpoint. However, the fact that it did it in line with dollar moving higher was probably one of the most ugliest things I've seen, and I don't really want to see more of that, especially with euro moving so aggressively lower. Nonetheless, let's go to the 4 hour, and you'll see how consolidated today was as we did tread into that fair value gap. Not ideal, but you can see how we're wicking down. Price is technically respecting this bullish order block, and when I say technically, I'm looking at volume. This has respected it, this has respected it, and I'd like to think if we do wick out of this range, so if we do reach that midpoint, which was this level, I'd like to think that the volume on the 4 hour candle that reaches that would also respect that bullish order block. And if that's the case, we should be comfortable to start thinking about that Tuesday high to get swept, and we can start thinking about trying to trade up into this range where we have a bearish order block and that premium weekly PD array I spoke about at the beginning of GBP. So let's go to the 1 hour, and you can see how we came down, grabbed stops. Now, one thing to take note of is, one thing I learned from ICT specifically is how price will come down and create defense levels. So the fact that we've grabbed sell stops below here says to me that price shouldn't need to come back down below these lows. As far as I'm concerned, these stops have been grabbed. We have a bullish bias. We've taken out this high. If price was to come down below this low, it's going to run, and it's going to run aggressive. And don't get me wrong, it can do it, and that's completely fine. If it does, we'll know what side of the market to be on, and if that's the case, dollar will obviously trade on aggressively higher, and it'll be crazy. But I would like to think that it can hold itself up, as in the fact that we grabbed out sell stops. I want to see, can it provide support? So like I said, as price comes down in towards this level, I'm going to be watching very carefully at the time, looking at what news events are coming up and figuring out, okay, and seeing if we do have some kind of reversal pattern happening that would suggest higher prices. If not, then it will, as soon as this low gets taken out, price will likely just drop off really aggressively. But ideally it holds itself. But let's go to the 15-minute, take a closer look. Very consolidated, not the cleanest price action at all. But like I said, the fact that we're taking out these lows, we're trading on higher, taking out these highs, I want to see can price hold itself and continue that bullish trend to try and start thinking about filling this range. But like I said, if not, we will know about it. We should be able to get in on a short. As soon as it takes out this low, if it does it, I'll probably be entering short, knowing that, okay, we can start thinking about all of these lows down here to get taken and start running into some kind of crazy discount. But ideally, it holds itself up. And that's based off my weekly review. So if you haven't watched that, go watch it. But my weekly review is saying I want to see GBP close higher, right? So that's what's making me want to see this turn price around. If I had a weekly review and I was bearish, it'd be the other way around. It's as simple as that. Anyway, remember, pound traded higher with dollar today, so price is already moving crazy and we do need to be extra careful. Let's finish on Euro USD. I do already have some marking outs, and I'll just explain them to you. So we have this weekly consequent encroachment I drew our attention to at the beginning of, in fact, let me just clear everything for now. So we've taken out this weekly low, which was nice to see. This was in line with dollar taking out its weekly high I was talking about, just about. So you'll see Euro's behaving itself. We like Euro. So let's grab those sell stops. So we do want to see some kind of retracement to an extent. And then remember, if we want to see higher Euro, if we want to see Euro trade on higher, we need to figure out where it wants to trade up into. So let's go to the daily. And you can see that we do have a nice fair value gap on the daily up here. Very clear for a nice premium. Now, I'm not thinking about this until we get a significant reversal on dollar. But generally speaking, we should have it marked out nonetheless. So we'll get that marked out like so. Now, I'm happy for Euro to take out Tuesday's low on Wednesday. I'll say that again. On Wednesday, I'm happy for Euro to take out its Tuesday low in line with, my expectation of dollar taking out its Tuesday high. I'm happy for that. We do have an implied fair value gap lined up with a bullish order block on the daily here. So let's get that marked out. We'll make it red. And you'll see how we just tapped into that on Tuesday. Now I wouldn't be surprised if price dips one more time into it and then we witness some kind of reversal. You'll also see this bullish order block right here that we also tapped into on Tuesday. So the fact that we've touched that is saying, okay, are we going to react to it? We'll allow price to touch it one more time. If it respects it, then I'm pretty sure we can be confident in expecting higher prices with dollar trading on lower. Now, this whole concept, why I'm happy with this happening is because of this concept. I'll draw it out for you right now. So if we have a significant price level like this, then make it, what color can we see? We'll make it blue. And I learned this from ICT. So if price drops down, it's very likely price will stab into it twice and then trade on higher. So this is why this part right here, I'm happy for price to do, and that's what I'm looking to see. Will Euro do that on Tuesday? As in, will Euro stab into that significant price level? Why is it significant? Bullish order block on the daily, weekly low, implied fair value gap. These are all PD arrays, right? So I'm happy for price to stab back into it one more time, and then I'm looking to see at the right time, 8:30, around high impact news or sentiment. Will price now trade on higher? If we get a nice displacement to the upside, we should be able to enter long with the expectation to run for our premium PD array, which right now is a clear daily fair value gap. So if you want to learn more about this kind of market structure on a more, on this kind of level, make sure to join the mailing list. The link is in the description. But yeah, let's drop down to the 4 hour nonetheless, and you can see how bearish Euro has been. And yeah, I'm just looking for that Tuesday low to get taken, and then I'll simply see how we respond to that. It's as simple as that. There is a very small 4 hour fair value gap right here. I used to be very specific with my fair value gaps. If you've been watching me for a while, you'll know I've kind of been slacking recently. But something like that is what I'd be looking to get traded into and watching to see if price responds to it. Because if it does respond to it, it will give me a very strong level of confidence to go long and trade into that daily fair value gap. Assuming, guys, we're assuming here that dollar does want to reverse. Because remember, dollar could simply just trade through, run these highs, and then I'll be looking at these relative equal highs. But ideally it doesn't, especially with the fact that we haven't made a significant low this week yet. So that's going to be everything, guys. I hope that all makes sense. Very, very dangerous week, especially after seeing how we traded today. Again, very high impact news tomorrow. Do be careful. Low risk if you are trading. If you are trading, I'm sending prayers to you. And we do still have high impact news on Thursday and Friday as well. So just be very wary. It'll be nice to see if the Wednesday can make the low of the week /high on dollar. But yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. So that's going to be everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.